Semen retention makes men successful. It makes men more attractive. How is this? We live in a very different world than our parents grew up. The world is changing, and is it for the better? Is it for the worse? How we interact with each other, how we interact with our environment, and the way our brains function is changing as well. It's very important to understand dopamine and the effect of dopamine in the brain and the body. Dopamine is the reward chemical. Naturally, it would be released when you've accomplished a task, maybe a difficult task. For example, you go to the gym and you crush a workout, you get this natural dopamine release. Or when you finish a project you've been working on for a long time, or you graduate from school. You get this natural hit of dopamine and you feel good, you feel accomplished, and it makes you want to do more things like that. Sex is another major way that we get dopamine. Naturally, sex is something that occurs when you win the favor of the opposite sex, right? There's kind of a process of getting to know them, attracting them, and dating them. Eventually that results in sex, so naturally, it would be a bit more of a process. The problem now is that in our technological world, we have very unnatural means of releasing dopamine into our systems without having to do anything at all. The number one thing, of course, being porn. Every time you watch porn, your dopamine levels peak up to 200% their normal levels. Every time you click on a new video, you're looking at a new image, you get hit after hit after hit of dopamine. This is very, very unnatural. It burns out the receptors in your brain so that you actually need more of that same intense stimulation just to feel normal, right? So that means when you're no longer looking at porn, you feel very low, you feel very anxious to do something that gives you another hit of dopamine. This throws your baseline of normal chemistry completely off, and it also trains you to be rewarded for doing absolutely nothing. Think about this, you're rewarding yourself. You're getting that dopamine release for sitting at your computer and clicking on your mouse, maybe with the other hand on your dick. Things such as video games, taking drugs, eating junk foods, and things like that also cause this instant gratification, this instant dopamine release, and they program you, again, to get rewarded for doing nothing. Porn is the most intense for people. It tends to be the most difficult pattern for people to break. So again, what does this do to you as a person? What does it do to your personality and your drive in life? You are being rewarded for doing nothing, and so you're content to sit on your couch watching Netflix. You're content to spend every evening hunched over your computer watching random people have sex as you masturbate to it. This starts to create some serious distortions in your day-to-day life and in your personality. When you're out in the world, you're at this really low state, you have low dopamine levels, and this results in anxiety. You have social anxiety, you're unable to communicate with people properly, you feel depressed, you have no motivation to really do anything that requires work. It also causes insomnia. This leads to all kinds of issues. When you stop watching porn, when you stop ejaculating every day, which again, gives you that hit of dopamine, then things start to balance out in your body. Of course, there's a bit of an adjustment period, it's not going to happen overnight. But when you work to release these addictive patterns from your life, these instant gratification dopamine releasing activities, it changes who you are. You start to rebuild your core energy, so to speak, which you've been depleting. Every time a man ejaculates, he's losing life force. Not only is it throwing off your brain chemistry, it's depleting your core essence, your jing, your physical essence is being depleted with each ejaculation. So by getting out of this pattern of instant gratification, you have to start working hard again. We were meant to accomplish tasks. We're meant to develop our skills, go out in the world, move our bodies, communicate with people. Sex was not meant to be something that you click on a button and you get a hit. It's meant to be a human connection. One that is involved in building a relationship with someone, then getting to know them, and then connecting sexually with someone. It's a natural process that has been distorted. We have an entire generation of men who are basically slaves. They're content to sit at home in front of their electronic devices jerking off every day. They're accomplishing nothing with their lives, they're depressed, they're unmotivated, and try to numb these things with drugs and more porn. This is not a path of success. When you start practicing semen retention, when you stop watching porn, stop wasting your time with all these activities that overstimulate your brain, you develop this drive and this motivation because it takes a lot of willpower for a man to overcome this pattern. If you've been masturbating and ejaculating every day for years, it's going to take some time to reprogram yourself, but that takes willpower. It takes discipline, and once you've accomplished that, it carries over into every other aspect of your life. You're no longer content to seek out instant gratification. You start to work for things that discipline. You start to work out your body. Go to the gym, exercise, develop a healthy, attractive body. Develop your mind, studying, reading books, building a business. Whatever it is, this is what happens when you start retaining your semen, because you get your brain chemistry back into balance. You rebuild your core energy and you will have all this drive, all this desire again. Most men are emptying themselves of all of their drive and their desire by ejaculating to porn every day. They have nothing to fuel their lives with. When you start retaining your semen, you build up this huge reservoir of energy that can start to fuel your life. But here's the thing, you have to keep yourself busy, you have to keep yourself productive, and you will be amazed at how much you start to change. Even if you're the laziest person right now, I guarantee if you overcome these instant gratification habits, you start retaining your semen, start working, developing your strength, your discipline, you will become a completely different person.